What's up, Buff Nation, and welcome into the Buff Blitz. I'm one of your hosts, Russ, and joined as always by David Talks Buffs. David, how are you doing on this fine Wednesday night?
Dude, I'm having a wonderful week. I hope you're enjoying a little bit of a break with another bye week. Didn't publish a video yesterday. So, hey, enjoying a little time off. But man, I'm excited again to hype up some of our young players. Julian Lewis. Talk about, man, there's a lot of work that needs to be done to salvage this season. But I think we can do it. And maybe if we have time, we can get into where we go from here with recruiting, because and I want to hear your theories on this, Russ, man. Recruiting staff has been awfully quiet, and I wonder what's going on because we need a lot more players, man. I got some theories about that to talk about. That should be kind of fun and exciting. But where do you want to start with today's show?
I mean, let's just kind of summarize where we're at so far, where the team's at right now, how we're feeling about everything going forward. Obviously, we didn't get to talk about the press conference because we were on air when that was happening. But
Yeah.
Julian Lewis's comments, Omarion Miller's comments today, I think they say a lot about where this program is heading in a good way. I'm glad that we heard from them the way we did. I talked about it a little bit earlier today on my show. I feel really good going into next year. There's a lot of people that are saying Julian Lewis is leaving and Omari. No, the comments that I heard in the last couple of days tell me the exact opposite. So, David, what are you feeling now after, the game on Saturday, after getting some
Yes.
days to digest, get to see what the players had to say the last couple of days? What are your thoughts right now?
Well, it's nice to know we got some players, right, that really care about this. And I think I think Bucky had some nice clips, in his well off video, just showing dude how frustrated and emotional Julian Lewis was not getting the dub. Not getting the dub. We're talking about a guy that should be a senior in high school right now. And I thought he played fantastic in his first start as well as on the road. And for him to be that upset about not getting a win, I think it bodes well for the future leadership of this team. Russ, like we've talked about it too, going back to, let's talk about 2023. We had more leadership on that team than we did on this year's. I don't think that's like a hot take. You had some people coming over with Prime, obviously his kids and Travis, whatnot. But when everybody is new, it's kind of hard to establish a leadership hierarchy, right? And that's kind of what repeated again when you bring in close to 40 guys. Everybody's new. You've had some guys like Tafik Bayard really step up, but I think it can be difficult. That being said, Julian Lewis will have been here a full year starting in January, and I think it's very clear with how he conducted himself also in the post-game press conference that he understands what this position means, and he's handling it with respect, reverence, and maturity. And I love that.
I absolutely agree with that. Just hearing Julian Lewis and Dave, we've talked about this. We mentioned it. Them asking him what he's going to do in the bye week, and Julian Lewis saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm not going home. I'm staying here. I'm going to do tape. I'm going to try and get my receivers to stay home. It's going to be very interesting to see if we get any videos during the bye week from Bucky, if he hangs around the facilities and gets any footage, because I would love to see who stays. If I'm Bucky and, the comments that he's made over the last several days in videos and just the comments we've been seeing, if I'm him, I show video of who's staying just so I can let the fans know this is who's locked in. So if you want to know why this player's not doing well or this player's not playing next week or things like that are happening, we can see and verbally say, well, that person decided that they wanted to go home to wherever instead of work with Julian Lewis to get things right this week. So I'm very interested to see if we see anything like that. But I loved hearing Julian Lewis say that because that was my biggest complaint is this team was not in a good position. Why are people leaving the state, leaving Boulder instead of working on what needs to be worked on. Okay. It's different when you're playing really well and the team's doing well and you're in a great spot. I could understand maybe saying, okay, I'm going to take a little bit of break. You might deserve it. You don't deserve it if you're not winning any games. Like,
dude, we had just beat Iowa State, man. You should want to lock in and get ready for Utah.
exactly. And so to hear Julian Lewis say that, but then also to sprinkle on at the very end to be like, I'm also doing this to get ready for next year. I'm like, yes, that is what we want to hear. Because again, Julian Lewis is locked in to next year. Jordan Seaton is locked in. To anybody who wants to say that Jordan Seaton's going to leave, like Jordan Seaton got probably offered millions of dollars to leave Colorado this last offseason. Do you think he's just all of a sudden going to leave this one just because things didn't go well with some of the older guys and yet we're looking great with some of the younger guys? Like, that's what I think is going on. And so I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear that Omarion Miller is, taking little jabs at maybe the other quarterback a little bit today in his presser, just talking about, we're actually throwing the ball deep for once. Either Pat Shurmur or Caden Salter. I'm not sure. No matter what, Omarion Miller's obviously happier. And I think Omarion Miller sees the potential of what happened on Saturday, the connection that he has with Julian Lewis, what could happen if he comes back for another year next year. Because if he plays like he did Saturday every weekend next year, he's a top like 1, 2, 3 rounds, not a top three like first round, but he's probably in the top half of the draft versus right now. I mean, he'd maybe squeak at the bottom, maybe, but probably not. Maybe undrafted free agent at this point. Who knows? I think he should definitely come back. And I think seeing Julian Lewis say those things and do those things should tell him that he needs to.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was listening to Adam and Brian earlier today, and Brian brought up the fact that, it's very strange. He leads the team in penalties right now, which is like most of our penalties feel like they're coming from the wide receiver room right now. And this is a side note. I think I'm more of the opinion now. Bring in a new wide receivers coach. Let's change things up a little bit. But Omarion has a huge opportunity to improve his draft stock next year. Again, he still has too much to prove right now. I think in order to declare and get that kind of draft capital that he believes he's worth. But yeah, if he can come back and put together his best season, and you got a quarterback that has an obvious connection with him, you hop in the portal.
The portal's the dumbest decision he could do.
If you're going to find a quarterback that has that connection. So I think he's definitely, he'll definitely be the go-to guy here next year. Him and Joseph Williams, and we'll kind of see who else elevates to be around those guys. But I'm feeling good about where Julian is at and having some top targets to throw to next year.
Absolutely agree on that. But David, we're kind of already hinting at it. We're talking about it. You talked about it at the top of the show. Let's talk about where Colorado goes from here. What's going to happen from here on out? Obviously, the rest of the season is just kind of to figure things out, figure out who should stay, who should go, who's going to be a part of this program moving forward, both in player personnel, but also in the coaching staff. And I mean, again, multiple comments. I will comment on that for anybody that has missed it. Coach Prime in his presser post-game said that between the players and the coaches, there are going to be changes on this team moving forward. Mm-hmm. He has stated that plain and simple. Bucky multiple times now. I mean, I loved his comments where he said, my dad was out sick. He wasn't around. Things did not get handled the way they did. My dad has now realized that. And there are going to be changes as a result. That to me screams the staff, whether that's just the coaching staff or possibly even the recruiting staff, if we're being honest, because they're in charge of a lot of things during that time as well that got dropped as far as the ball. So, David, what are your thoughts? What are you thinking? What are your theories when it comes to what's happening with this team moving forward as we head into recruiting season and the transfer portal? And then we're about a month away, less than a month away from National Signing Day, and about a month and a half away from the portal time.
Well, first off, there's a lot of work that needs to get done. and we don't know a lot of details. And so that's where things become fun, because now we can put our own hats on and say, what would we do if we were in Coach Prime's shoes? This is what Coach Prime has, on the table, everything that he's got to accomplish. He has to, again, get that high school class ready to sign by early National Signing Day. That's when you sign most of your high school guys. You got to hire at least a new offensive staff, maybe minus one or two coaches. We'll see what happens with Robert Livingston, but right now I'm more so leaning towards the idea that he returns.
Same.
But you have a handful of assistants turning over. So you have to hire more defensive assistants. Maybe that's put more on Rob instead of Prime. But then you also got to blow out this entire recruiting staff, man. And I think that's like where I start. Like when we zoom out a little bit, Russ, again, we've kind of talked a little bit about this. We didn't think that we'd be entering 2025 with some serious roster holes, man. Now going into year 4. And a lot of this, I think, could have been avoided, had we just leaned into high school recruiting a little bit more. We've talked, last week quite a bit about it. You had Matt McChesney on your show about just the importance of just, guys, we're in a one-school state. There's no other power school in the state. We should have first dibs on all these guys at Colorado, and we're recruiting Colorado right now, the state of Colorado, worse than we did, considerably than some of our previous coaches here before Coach Prime. And I think that you got 3 years or 3 cycles of evidence right now to kind of look at that. A substantial change needs to be made. Again, I think the whole staff's got to go. I think David Kelly's got to go. Like, yes, there are going to be players that this staff can kind of hitch to their wagon and say, well, we brought in Julian Lewis, you brought in Jordan Seaton. Right now, Russ, we got off to a great start, I thought, compared to last year with 12 or 13 commits around the start of the football season. But we have stagnated. We have not been able to close. We have fumbled away opportunities to keep in-state talent here. We have fumbled away just opportunities to close other guys in general. And again, I don't want to rehash this conversation, but a lot of the time it feels like this staff, I wonder what they do all day, because they're getting put in communication with guys from Buff's Twitter accounts. So, you probably need to find some new guys to do this job with a little bit more urgency, because right now, I don't know if you want to go through. We talk about how Prime's got a new 5-year deal. We shouldn't be going into the transfer portal for another 40 players right now, and that's kind of what right now this year is trending at. I'm hoping if we can get one win out of these next 2, that will be very, very positive in showing the proof of product with Julian Lewis and everything like that. And I would have loved to see our high school class get up to 25, but right now we're at 12 guys, Russ. I'm just praying to God we can get it to 20. And I'm not even sure how great I feel about that right now. But I'm curious what your thoughts are on all that. But I start with the recruiting staff before the assistant coaches and stuff.
I'd agree with that. The more I dive into it, the more I find out about what's going on recruiting wise behind the scenes, the more I'm like, what is going on with this recruiting staff? It doesn't make any sense to me. I've talked about it on my show multiple times. Obviously, I talked about it with Matt. I know people they're all over online thinking that, Matt's stupid and Colorado doesn't have any recruits and Colorado doesn't have any good football players. I just had my live show and I had people saying, Colorado, there's nobody in college football. Like, name me more than Christian McCaffrey that's come out of the state of Colorado. And I'm like, we may not have a ton of playmakers coming out of Colorado, which is the guys you'll remember because they're the guys getting time on
Right.
ESPN.
Right.
I'm sorry, but a center and a guard and a left tackle aren't getting ESPN time for the amazing block that they had,
You
which is
put out linemen, yeah.
which most of the guys from Colorado are.
Yes.
They're going to be from these positions that are not going to get a ton of, flashiness to it. I mean, just looking at this list, Braylon Hodge, Cherry Creek guy, number one guy in the state right now per 24/7. He's to Oregon. T.I. Washington, number one D lineman. We've got more tight ends. Deacon, obviously, and the frustration that I hear straight from Matt McChesney's mouth is Deacon was not a money thing. Brett Cullejay was a money thing. Deacon was just simply the school stopped talking to him. They just moved on, just stopped talking to him, didn't even try, try pushing to get him. He's going to Oklahoma. UCLA.
This is ridiculous right here, Teray Davis.
Teray Davis literally is 10 minutes away from campus, and you haven't even offered him or spoken to him at all, and he's a 3-4 star, depending on the site you're in. Safety, 6'1", 185, right now committed to UCLA, although he is getting a lot of push from some SEC schools now. And he's not, on at all the radar of Colorado. I mean, look at this. Offensive tackle, Oliver Miller, Kansas State. Maxwell Lovett, wide receiver, Kansas State. We've got a USC on an offensive tackle, Cannon Smith. You go through this whole list. These aren't like crappy schools. This isn't like schools that are just, pulling for them that we should be like, whatever. I mean, these are schools that are the same or better. I mean, I go all the way down. It's Josiah Manu is the only one besides him and Ben Gula that are only ones.
The fact that our top commit out of Colorado is the 18th ranked guy, no shade to Josiah Manu. I'm pumped that he's coming here, but we should have a handful of guys above the 18th spot.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then after you drop out of the 18th spot, then you get the smaller programs that everybody's talking about. Somebody said in my chat, oh, every Colorado kid just ends up at Wyoming. Like, that's not the case at all. No. The bottom tier does. You've got CSU and you've got, School of Mines and you've got Idaho and all that. Yeah. But when you talk about the absolute top guys in the state, look at where they're going. And they do that every year. They do that every year.
Nebraska doesn't have a commit because they normally have a couple, within the top 20 or so from the state every year. And if they're good enough for Kansas State, their trenches, they're sure as hell good enough for us.
I mean, even look at last year, Dave. The number one recruit in the state, Tanner Turch, went to Nebraska. You had a wide receiver. Obviously, we got Sayin D'Souza, so we got a tight end. We needed that. But we have an offensive tackle, 2 offensive tackles that ended up at Utah, Wake Forest. We just keep going down the list. I mean, go back every year. It's frustrating to me that we aren't doing that. And here's why. And somebody asked this. They sent me a super chat and they were like, why should you prioritize Colorado? And I'm like, because it does not take any resources to recruit Colorado. It's in your backyard. It takes a tank of gas. You don't have to get on an airplane. You don't have to plan out the trip and take away time multiple days. You don't have to just show up on a Friday night for an hour to talk to a kid and see them. And that's all you have to do. We have enough staff to be doing that at least once a week all across the state. If we're not going out and traveling out of state, it blows my mind, Dave, that we're not at least trying a little bit more in that. It doesn't have to be the end all be all. It's not going to fix the program overnight, but it would help right now in a situation where we're injured. We need depth. We have, 10 plus scholarships available that we're just letting rot away on this team. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. And that's where I hate doing this, but to me, it just comes off as lazy. When you can't even fill the entire roster of scholarships, man, I think that's just a bad sign. And again, I'm open to being, having an open mind, right? Because I'm like, man, this is going to be more like the NFL. The NFL, you need 60 guys or so. You got the practice squad, whatever. But it just it hasn't worked. And I mean, now we're in a serious position right now where you can see how all this stuff is kind of laid out to where we're gonna have to bring in a lot of guys and a lot of transfers, and oh man, I don't know, man. I hope Julian Lewis, man, can work some magic over the next couple weeks, because hey, when people knew that, hey, we had Shador and Travis Hunter here, that was a huge recruiting tool for guys coming here. I think this past year, it wasn't exactly the same type of attraction as much as like I might have convinced myself, right? With the quality that's come here, but you just can't build long term only bringing in 10, 12, 13 guys from high school every single year and then be upset when your culture fails.
Yeah. I mean, it absolutely does. And I mean, we look at the roster, Dave. You sent me this, much better than what they previously had up on the site. I'm glad they updated this with actual like information instead of that little Excel spreadsheet. So good job on them for updating this. I mean, you look at this, and I've talked about this. I mean, the portal should only be used for this year for a few impact players that are going to be in specific spots. Most likely, unfortunately, at this point, it's going to have to be trenches to an extent, especially when it comes to the interior trenches. But you look at this, and there are some surprising names that are coming back. Omarion Miller, Hakeem Williams, they'll be back. I guarantee it at this point, okay? Yep. I guarantee they'll be back. Dallin Hayden, who knows? With his season being up and down and how the team has, used him, I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to jump ship at this point. That wouldn't be a shocker to me. I hope he sticks around because he's looked good at times. I just wish the team would give him a little bit more of a play. Right now.
Wait, could we be back to one scholarship running back, come January?
I mean, we very well could again, but I also wonder if DeKalon Taylor and Simeon Price apply for medical redshirt.
I hope so.
That would be my only hope there. We look at the receivers. Again, we're looking pretty good. Do we really need to go out and get 4 transfer portal receivers again this year? I don't think so.
No, put the NIL, put the collective money towards other positions. That's the one position group where I feel like we're fine.
Yeah, and then tight end, I mean, Zach Atkins has another year of eligibility. He gets to come back. If we can keep Gavin Mueller, I think he is good enough to affect the play next year. But we've also got Corbin Lazier and Zane D'Souza in the wings, ready to go. They have not really played this year, but they have a chance to now take over. Even if Gavin Mueller doesn't come, we've still got a couple guys that can do it. You might need one transfer tight end if it's available. That's going to be interesting. This is one that we don't realize. Tackle, we're fine. I think we're honestly going to be fine. Between Cardi Smith, let's hope he can take the next step. Larry Johnson, again, I think Andre Roy needs to go. I mean, after that performance, where he gets his chance to shine, he looks so bad. That's probably not. But Larry Johnson could fill in again next year for that.
I'll even take Roy coming back on another year than just a walk-on freshman.
So we don't have to go get a tackle.
Yeah.
Now here's the problem, Dave. We completely have nothing on
I know,
the
dude,
inside
look
line.
at this.
Like, I get Chauncey and Yo-Yo could potentially start next year no matter who we add. We're going to have to add players there.
Dude, another year with a new
add
center. Another year with a new center, man.
We absolutely are going to have to add some interior offensive linemen. Okay, as far as the edge goes, okay, obviously Arden Walker, Keaton Wade, gone. Sam Okunlola, we know, is already gone. Quincy Wiggins, Nikhil Webb-Walker, they'll be back, but they've not been great.
Right now? Not much.
There's your cornerstone starters going forward, so at least you have that, but we're going to need some depth / we need some recruits on the line. I mean, look at how bad this is.
We need recruits at every position.
It's 0 recruits on the defensive line right now, thanks to Ohio State flipping Emmanuel Ruffin. The interior is even worse, Dave. I mean, the interior is even worse.
Dude,
we've got... That's it. BDS. BDS is our interior of the line. Everybody else is gone.
Well, yeah. Out of the guys who played this year, man. Well, now we could get Lightfoot back and Tavian Coleman.
True. I hope that they can get medical redshirted as well. If that comes back, I'd feel a lot better because I think those 2 guys were sorely missed this year. I think those 2 guys being injured this year really derailed what could have been. Obviously, Jaheim Otis not living up. I don't think he comes back, Dave, if I'm being honest. Because if I'm the team, I'm not paying for what they got and I'm not bringing him back.
Dude, I ain't letting those checks cash this year, man.
Nope.
So
And then it gets worse, Dave. Linebacker. We got nothing. We've got Mantrez and we've got Kylan. Kylan's great. Mantrez, we have no idea what we got yet, and he needs to still put on weight. I don't know what he's gonna have just yet, but holy crud, we are thin there. I will say we've got
experience, man.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be a transfer portal need as well. Defense all across the board is portal heavy.
Concerning. I will say, I'll give Coach Hart his credit, and maybe you bring him into the recruiting staff instead of having him coach position, the linebacker position. But like, I really like these guys right now that are committed. But it's very evident, man. We need a linebacker coach that can. I mean, it is. Especially throughout since our first bye week, man, it has just been so evident how bad our linebacker play is, man. We just need somebody else coaching, and I want to see these guys have the opportunity to be developed. I'll give you Coach Hart haters, your flowers right now. It just hasn't been there, man. The development has not been there. I'm back on the Coach Hart got to go train now. I'm flip-flopping again. So, yeah, linebacker, defensive line. Again, this is what happens when, again, you're like, well, we only need like maybe, one or two guys, if that, every recruiting class in high school. You can't supplement with the transfer portal with how things have been constructed. And I think, like, again, we thought, okay, you might have to do this for the first year or two. But 3 years ago or two years ago, Russ, like starting this whole thing, this would not have been how I would have predicted our high school recruiting to have gone right now.
Nope.
When we're good at it.
Not at all.
We're good at it, when we decide to try, I think we're good at it. So anyways, continue on. Sorry for
no, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, cornerback, we have guys, but we don't have any like true playmaker lockdown corners. So that needs to change. That absolutely needs to be.
Now, I will say, I hope to God we can bring all these guys back. Now, I know that some people might be freaking out about me saying that. It can't get any worse, right? Again, I would hope that we could get somebody else in coaching the corners. I want to see DJ return. But I don't know if we're going to be bringing in star corner transfers right now or anything like that. It could get worse if we lose these guys than get better.
The key is, Dave, I don't care about stars anymore. I don't care about stars anymore. I want guys that can be impact players that want to come in and work their butts off and be absolute dogs. We dealt with the star thing with Jaheim Otis. He's not a dog. He doesn't work hard. He could have all the talent in the world, but if you don't actually put in that work, I want guys who are hungry to show up at the next level and go and have a chance at the NFL. Yeah. And right now, the SEC rejects, the Big Ten rejects that a lot of people want us to get, I don't know if I'm going to be very excited for them, unless they literally have tape proving that they are good players. Like, I mean, actual game tape, not practice footage, not anything like that. Like, that's what's frustrating most of all to me. That's what's frustrating most of all to me. I'm sick of it. It's not going to work because we don't have the money to go after the top guy out there. We maybe have it for one guy and we waste it on Jaheim Otis. It doesn't always pan out.
That money. Yeah, we need to put that money back in the trenches when you see what our roster looks like right now. Absolutely.
Linebacker and interior D-line is where we should spend the most money. Corner, I want to get some. I mean, you've got Coach Prime on the damn staff. How can you not tell me that Coach Prime can't watch the tape of some of these, lower level corners and say, that kid's got talent, I'm going to bring him in? Like, what is happening?
Well, I'll tell you what's going on is that this recruiting staff is bringing guys to them to where they don't even know how to evaluate these guys. So when he's taking a look at these guys, he's getting sold something that they're not. He's getting told this is the best we can get right now.
And if that's the case, that's where Prime needs to say, I need new recruiters. I need new guys on the staff because it's just not working if they can't do that. And it is true, by the way. I mean, David mentioned at the top of the show, the recruiters are literally getting players from Twitter users. That's been known for the last couple years. And I've been a part of those groups that have been throwing players towards the literally have messages asking for players to be sent their way. Like, what is going on that has to happen? No normal program would care what the fans have to say to the extent of being able to bring in those guys. Like, it's ridiculous to me. It's ridiculous to me. We need a change when it comes to the recruits. I have to see that honestly, at this point, Dave, we know the OC's out the door, so that's great. That's one little check off. The next thing, we need to see some kind of change to the recruiting. Whether that's just bringing on new people, just to add extra people to the recruiting staff, that at least helps, I think.
Yeah.
Or completely cleaning house. I don't know if you can completely clean house this late into the recruiting cycle.
I know, maybe it's like the draft where you just blow everybody out after the draft. Maybe you do that after again. Like spring ball. It might not be a problem that's fixed until next year, which is
with the portal only being one period. I mean, you go through the first portal, you see what happens. And then I'd say spring ball, you clean house on the recruiting staff and you get ready for 2027 recruits, 2026 and 2027 recruits that way. Yeah.
That ain't going to be good. That ain't going to be good. If I'm Coach Prime, dude, I try and make it work. I try and fire all these guys, hire all these guys. You press this thing hard for 2 months and surely can't get any worse.
If it's the case, I mean, he's probably doing it right now. I mean, that's the thing. You this period you guys don't understand this year. The people in the chat, like, it is going to be so quick, the off season with player movement.
Your entire roster will be finalized by
middle of January. Yeah. Middle of January, we will know what we have, and that's it, guys. There's maybe bringing in more players, but there's no players leaving unless Coach Prime leaves. So that is the case. You can leave. Here's the new rules, by the way, guys. Okay. So the new rules are, if your coach gets fired, there is no portal that opens anymore. That got changed mid-season. I still don't get why that happened. And if they name a new head coach, when they name a new head coach is when the 30-day portal now opens, which makes sense because it gives the new head coach time to clean house and say you're gone. Although, Dave, it seems stupid to me that a coach would do that because they're not going to be able to bring guys in unless they get hired before the portal.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. All of this timing is so dumb. This year's going to be bad. I have a feeling they're going to change things because they're going to get a lot of complaints this offseason. But this season in particular, all the teams that are searching for new head coaches are going to be in trouble. I don't care which team it is. You are going to be in trouble, which is another reason why I would never fire Coach Prime during this cycle with what's going on right now. Even if we were 0-12 and everything was falling apart, I would not fire Coach Prime if I could save that at all.
Yeah.
It's not the right time to do it. Wait until they fix things. They need to put the portal after the playoffs, Dave. That absolutely needs to happen. I don't get why that didn't happen. That's the stupidest thing. We're going to go to one portal. It needs to be postseason, not in the middle of the postseason.
Dude.
Because who's going to leave? Who's going to leave their program if they're in a playoff? Who's going to do that? Who's going to, same with the coaches that are leaving, because a lot of those coaches on those staffs are going to get interest in some of these jobs, but they won't get to join those staffs and actually start doing their job until after the playoffs. If you're really looking at it, like, so they're not going to get a portal or a high school recruiting this offseason if they choose a coach from one of those programs. So absolutely crazy things right there.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm very interested to see what happens. You look at everything else, Dave. Safety. Well, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I noticed that safety, TJ Branch needs to be a freshman, not a sophomore on there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's, I think, the one thing they screwed up, but I hope he returns. I figure that he's not, but
yeah.
I probably feel okay right now about Tafiq Bayard, of course, being one of those starters. Maybe John Slaughter or like Preston Ashley is one of those guys, but I would imagine we lose, I mean, we'll have to see what happens with Carter. I feel like Carter might be one of those guys to hit the portal.
If he gets an offer, if he gets an offer from a Virginia Tech again, he should probably be taking.
Dude, I still feel like you just need to put him in at linebacker. We need linebackers. Move him to linebacker.
It's probably the only thing he's good at is, he can't cover worth what, like at all.
You can cover a tight end. Yeah.
It's frustrating, but I don't know why they also have Preston Hodge as a safety. Dave, did you see that too?
Oh, probably because they got him as like
So are the slot guys also listed there?
Yeah, I think that's how they
okay.
That. But Preston was also like I don't know. Some people had him as like a safety on 24/7 when he was in the transfer portal last time. So maybe it has to do with that.
Yeah, and then punter, we get Greaves back. Unfortunately, Buck Buchanan is out of eligibility, even though he's been fantastic at kicking the ball out of the end zone. We have one kicker on this roster, and that is freshman Arnold.
Big booter.
I know.
Elliot Arnold. He's going to be the truth. He's going to have to be. I hope he lifts his kicks. All hats off to you, Mata, but I'm ready for the Mata show to go.
We're probably going to be getting a kicker in the portal. Just everybody, FYI. Probably two kickers if I'm being
and hopefully
honest.
At least two long snappers. Shoot.
We don't have any long snappers, and we don't have any centers either, Dave. Just realize that. We don't have any centers on this team.
Guessing Yo-Yo will probably be the center next year, and then Chauncey Gooden. Who else we plug in there? Again, we don't have like a full two deep right now. So that
we have one. We have one deep, Dave. Like, look at that. Like, that is the worst. I thought we were bad. We were worse off at other positions. No, I just realized. Linebacker's pretty close. We only got two there as well. So inside O-line, we are really, really
all these positions where you
hurting.
like win games, we're like super thin at offensive line, defensive line, linebacker.
Yep.
And that, hey, if Coach Prime has been late seeing that, okay, but you need to have people in the recruiting staff that are hitting these positions every single year, man.
Yeah.
So we're not in a situation like this.
I mean, at least get one recruit to every single position per year.
Dude. And we only got Ryan Staub could definitely leave. And then where we're at, dude, where are we at with quarterback?
No, what do you mean, Dave? Your favorite person in the whole world would now be the backup quarterback. What are you talking about?
Gavin Cole?
Cole?
Oh,
no.
Oh, Ponder. No. Ponder. That's right. Yeah. Hey,
the Ponder show, baby.
Maybe Ponder gets a sympathy scholarship since we always give out one of those every single year. But dude, I forgot. Is Ben Finnisa? They don't have him on here, so
they don't have him on here at all.
Yeah, maybe they didn't add him as the scholarship guys because he got his scholarship later on. But I will say, he's a guy that I want on this team in a depth role.
Yeah, I'm fine with it if he sticks around. But man, Dave, we are light. We are light. This is going to be a very interesting offseason as we move forward. As we go into next week, heading into a game against Arizona State, who, by the way, are extremely banged up. It's already been reported that Jordan Tyson is out with an injury this week. They're hoping to have him back for Colorado, but you never know. It depends on what's going on with the team. It depends on what's happening. And plus, let's be honest, Jordan Tyson is a first-round draft pick already. Does he need to play if he's hurt? If there's not much to play for on the Arizona State side?
There's a lot for him to play for, dude. He wants to torch this program that told him to go kick rocks, man. And
I mean, there's that too. There could be, but no Sam Levitt, obviously, out for the season. We're going to be getting the Jeff Sims show, but he has to play again this week. We'll see if what he's doing outside of this game. Arizona State defensively, pretty darn good defense. I mean, as most Big 12 teams are across the board, if we're being completely honest. What are some things that you want to see as far as us heading into next week, as far as personnel, as far as, just overall what needs to happen going into next week's game?
Well, hey, we're going to be at home. So this is how I feel about it, man. We get a couple of those offensive linemen back. Okay. Hopefully Seton will be ready to go. I know that he was in that boot on Saturday, but if we can get Seton back and a couple of those guys, dude, I I feel good about us putting up some points. I really do. I feel good about us because, hey, you saw after we got Roy out of that game, everything settled down for Julian Lewis, man. And when you're so young and raw as he is, man, every game you're going to see new flashes, new strides, new heights reached, right? Not to say he won't have his struggles, but I think against Arizona State, obviously a very well-coached team, but without Sam Levitt, we got a chance, man, especially being at home. We absolutely do. And I think it really just comes down to, can we limit those big chunk plays in the run game? Can our linebackers play the best game of their year? Can our defensive line, or what's left of it, hold up just enough to where, hey, if we're keeping them under 30 points, maybe the third week with Brett Bartolone calling plays now and a bye week to prepare, maybe Julian Lewis and Omari Miller and those guys can put up 30 points, which is like a Big 12 standard. That's like just being a standard Big 12 offense.
I think that's the key. And that's what I'm most excited about, Dave, for this matchup offensively. I don't know. You're not going to do much defensively. It's going to be high scoring. Arizona State's going to still put up a ton of points, and Jeff Sims probably going to rush for a ton of yards. But to have 2 weeks now for Brett Bartolone and Julian Lewis to get in the classroom and to work on scheming for this game, I'm very interested to see what it looks like, what he's able to do. I think this will be an even better game for Julian Lewis than this past weekend because of that. I think Julian Lewis is the ultimate prepper. Again, he can read defense, very cerebral. It's night and day opposite of Caden Salter and what he was as a quarterback. And so I have a feeling that Julian Lewis can watch tape and figure out what he needs to do to be successful against Arizona State. And so I do think that they can be able to put up something on Arizona State. Now, what I'd like to see across the board is I'd like to see some of the younger guys getting some more play these last two games. Now that it's official that we are not bowl eligible, that we are out of contention for the 6 and 6, I would like to see. And the one rumor I saw online was Chauncey Gooden getting some play at guard with Xavier Hill at tackle. So the line may very well be Seaton, Yo-Yo, McGill, Gooden, Hill. I would love to see that because you can't really get that much worse on the interior as we did last week. I mean, am I right? I mean, I don't know what we're looking at there. Or, hey, put Chauncey and Yo-Yo on a rotation or something at left guard and keep Zy Chrysler in. I don't know what that looks like. I'm interested to see that. I'm interested to see some other young guys get some play at different positions. I hope we do get to see them, maybe to see if maybe they're just a little bit hungrier. I feel like that would honestly make a difference because at this point, you can't get any worse with, players' ability to actually digest what's happening in front of them, make the right call, but then they also quit on the play.
Yeah. Now that you're bringing it up, I mean, we kind of know what we got in these linebackers that we've had, all these 5th, 6th-year seniors, dude. We kind of know. It might not hurt throwing out Mantrez to see what he can do, or Kylan Salter for a few series to see what he can do. Hey, what about some of these tight ends? That would be cool. And we got to remember, man, I really do think Brett Bartolone has a legitimate I believe that this is a legitimate audition for the offensive coordinator role, like the full-time one. He would not be the guy that I would hire to do that, but he's obviously gonna be taking this incredibly serious, and I want to see him put together a good game plan. Not complicating things. Get the ball to your best players. Hey, Omarion's a beast. Do they have anybody on defense that can stop Omarion? No? Okay. We are going to spam Omarion Miller. That's all I want to see.
Agreed. Like I said, I throw out some young guys, get some fire going, show what this team is supposed to be in the future. Linebacker, throw it all out. Sean Myers,
Noah King. Let's see what Noah King can do out there.
If he's ready to play, he was on the out list, and then he flopped off in that one weekend. So I don't know if it's red shirt. I don't know if it's, what it is, but if they can play, because they have red shirt games still left for a lot of these guys, just play them. Just throw them in there, play them, see what happens. Let's start seeing what we've got. Let's start seeing the tape on it. That's what these last 2 games should be all about, is what do you have going forward? Because unfortunately, this year's done. This year's done. There's nothing for those older guys to play for. You didn't do what you needed to do. This is what you get. Now it's time to move on, and the future of this team is now, and let's see what they have in these 2 games. And I'm excited for that part. I mean, that's what we're looking at. Again, you got to take the positive where you can. Like, record in these last 2 games is not going to matter as much as, the little things. Are players that are the future of this team playing well? Are they making plays? Are they doing things the right way? That's going to be the most important thing that we see over the next 3 weeks.
And what? Arizona State is our last home game. So the senior day, our last recruiting showcase, which is what I wanted to get at, is I hope we can bring a lot more visitors in. We'll see. And hey, if we're bringing in any legacy buffs, know that they're legacy buffs. Simple stuff, man. I know Cordell Stewart is trying to get into a head coaching position. But damn, man, I would kill to have him, whether it's on staff, on the offensive staff, or in the recruiting staff. I think he would just absolutely crush it. I would love Cordell Stewart here so bad. It would be nice to have. I know we got Andre Girard, obviously, who played on the Buffs with McChesney in the early 2000s, but it would be nice to have some more CU connections. We let Darian Hagan go a couple of years ago. But we need some guys, man, that can help kind of bridge the gap. It's hard for me to see that if Darian Hagan was on the recruiting staff, that some of these blunders on these visits, it's hard for me to see them still happening if we have some legacy buffs involved in these things.
It's part of the change that needs to be made. There needs to be a melding of it. One way to build a culture is to meld it with the culture that already exists in the background with the new culture. There's a way to do it. There's a way to get that going. Yeah. Just a little bit of pride in where you're at. It still exists in places, and I would like to see that. For coaching, I said it online. I would love Cordell Stewart to be. I think quarterback coach would be a perfect position for him, because that's amazing. Not a position that needs to be about all the other things. It's just about, how do you play the position? How do you work with Julian Lewis? How do you guys communicate with one another? And for them to already have a little bit of a relationship already, and a little bit of respect for one another already, I think that'd be a great start for him. It's just kind of crazy to me that he's just kind of jumping off and all of a sudden saying out of nowhere, I want to be a coach, and wanting to be a head coach right off the bat.
Signed to Young Money, baby.
Like to me, that's just, I guess that's the new thing now, and teams will do that. So if he's fine with going to some, podunk place or small town place or whatever it may be to be a head coach just to start it off, then great, good for him. But with your legacy, I would be asking Prime first and foremost, like, hey, can I work with this first? Can I do a year of just doing this and get my hands dirty and get to feel what it is and get to learn and figure out, okay, what's my coaching style going to be? I don't know. I wish that would be that. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that, but we get a fun off season. Because there's going to be a ton of movement.
Dude, absolutely. And, we'll see what happens with Cordell, man. But it would make so much sense for him to come back here in some capacity. I have long wondered if he would ever do it. And while, a part of me would die inside with him going to coach little brother, the CSU Rams, it seems like they don't even want him anyways.
No.
But I would have to start David Talks Rams at that. No, I'm just kidding. I would never do that. I would never do that, as much as I would root for Cordell, man. So it could be a fun way to kind of hopefully fill some of these just gaps that we've had right now. But Yeah, man, I'm excited. Like, let's put on a good offensive showing against Arizona State. Hopefully, have a great environment. Crowd shows up. I know they will. The recruits are impressed, and then we get down and sprint. We handle this thing with some urgency, like when Prime first came here in 2023. Just things are moving real fast. Once you cut the dead weight, I think you'll get that back.
I agree. I agree. And I think I will tell you this. I think Coach Prime is going to be very, very hands-on this
Good,
offseason.
dude.
I
Good.
hope.
We
I
have
hope.
missed it. We've obviously missed his magic touch throughout this offseason, this past offseason. And hey, when Bucky is saying, I don't care how long some of these guys have been with my dad, they failed him, and he knows that now. Ooh, man. That has me hopeful.
That gives me goosebumps. Yeah.
But if Coach Hart remains on this team, we're cooked next year, Russ. Don't if these friends stay on the staff after all of that, dude, we're cooked.
So it's very interesting. So, I think about every offseason. I think about how much Coach Prime is, off doing other things during the offseason, on and off again on campus, at home in Texas, all that. He talks about sleeping at the facility every night since those losses. I want to see that in the offseason. I want to see that over a long period in the offseason. I want to see that commitment from him because that is probably the biggest thing he can do. Just be more hands-on when it comes to this whole offseason process. And if that also includes, doing some more with recruits, then do some more with recruits. He doesn't have to go in person, but if there's a recruit out there that can really make a difference that we absolutely desperately need, I'd say pull the ace, show up to their doorstep just to try and lock that down. If you truly think that we can do something there, but I don't know. I hope that this is all, there's going to be action and not just talk.
The problem is, Russ, and I don't know, man, outside of Coach Prime's game management, which he continues to go to the mic and just justify and double down on, which, okay, we seriously need him like focusing on that this year, because you could argue it was a big reason why we lost that game last week. Once he called the timeout, the game was over. What was I getting at? The other thing, it's just a pet peeve, dude. It just peeves me. It just gets under my skin. It annoys me. Is that we're not going to hear about all these changes until they've been in place for like weeks. I wish we could be a little bit more transparent and upfront, because I feel like that would help recruiting too. I feel like it would, especially if our recruits are just getting connected to the program via guys on Twitter, dude. They don't have any inside information where they're figuring out coordinator hires beforehand, man. Like, just be transparent. There's nothing wrong with being honest and being transparent. I would just like to see a little bit more of that.
Yeah. No, for sure. For sure. Yeah, Dave, I don't know. We're going to have to see what happens. I mean, it's going to be a very interesting couple of weeks. It's going to be a very interesting couple of months. Luckily, all the fans in the chat have us as some of your sources to discuss and talk about what we're about to go through together as a fan base. Excited to see what happened. Dave, I think we should also obviously talk about our fantastic sponsors at some point.
Yeah.
But our fantastic sponsors over at Taco Bell.
Yes.
Taco Bell has been an absolutely fantastic sponsor this year, and they continue to be sponsors even through all this. Even as the Buff boxes have started to sell out, they are no longer available in a lot of places. You can still order the Buff box, but you can't get this anymore. Okay. So these are now no longer available in a lot of places, but you can still get your cups. They're still giving the cups out. They've got plenty of these. If you want your Julian Lewis cup, like David is showing off there, nice and beautiful, and you're in the Colorado area between now and the end of the season, make sure you jump by, get your Buff box still, get the $7 meal. Absolutely fantastic deal. Cheap meal. And it's a lot of food. I have never finished a Buff box, Dave. I have ordered several of them over the season. I have never finished every single piece of item in there. And for $7, I don't know. You can't beat that when you're looking for a quick meal. So appreciate Taco Bell this season. Appreciate everything they've done. All of the donations that they've made to CU Athletics, including the $500,000 donation that they made to the Crawford Athletic Scholarship last week. So we do appreciate them for being a sponsor this year. And hopefully they do something like this again next year. I hope, because I'd love to partner up with them again. So appreciate to Taco Bell. Sco Buffs, live Moss, and get yourself.
Thank you, Taco Bell. We love you. We love you. You've made this season fun.
They have, Dave. Well, Dave, I mean, we're coming to the end here. There's not much else to talk about. It's unfortunately the bye week. There's not much happening, which may be a good thing. It's a little quiet on the front, you know? Maybe they're behind the scenes actually working on stuff. Maybe Prime's going to spend this entire bye week looking for a new staff. Maybe that's what he's going to do, because guess what? That would be the smart thing to do if I'm him. Dude. If I'm him, I'm starting to work the phones behind the scenes. I'm starting to work things that I need to find replacements for specific coaches, but maybe also bringing in some other recruiting stuff and really going hard in that. That to me seems like a great use of the time that he has over the next week, rather than going back to Texas, being here and starting to plan for next year.
Yes. Yeah, Coach Prime, dude, just let go of a couple of those friends, man, and I'll be back on the train saying we're going undefeated, baby. Like we need that sort of energy back in here, right? We'll see how it all goes, but also get some guys in here hungry to recruit. I think that's what I mostly, or if I could rank it at the top, rather, that's what I want the most, is to see us get some new recruiters, man. There's no reason, man, Carl Durrell should be out recruiting Coach Prime, and that's what's happening so far this year. Yikes.
Absolutely, Dave. Absolutely. Well, we're about to be in for an interesting ride, but I'm excited to go on it, because it is not gonna be boring. That is for sure.
It will make the mountaintop that much sweeter, dude. It will make the mountaintop that much sweeter. Dude, Coach Prime, I'm sure he doesn't like it getting dunked on, man. I hate getting dunked on every video that I post when we lose games, you know? I don't want to get dunked on no more. So this recruiting staff's got to go for the sake of us.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, guys. Well, we appreciate you. Anything else you want to add, Dave, to conclude the show? What we got going on this week for you? What's the plan for the bye week? Or are you going to take it easy?
Well, I saw that Corey Phillips just discovered Cherry Creek High School this week, making an offer for to a kid over there. So maybe I'll do a video on that tomorrow.
Okay.
Oh,
I've officially lost my battery. Don't worry, I'm still here. You just can't see me. You don't need to see my beautiful face anymore. Okay, Dave. Well, that sounds great. I'll probably do a short video on Friday. We'll see what happens, what's being talked about, what's being shown. Yeah, that's all I've got this week. Probably going to take it easy on the weekend and then go hard next week for that Arizona State game. So we'll be back next Wednesday at 7
Let's do it.
p.m. as always. So make sure you guys join us back then next Wednesday. Make sure you're subscribed to both my channel and David Talks Buffs, and you like both channels. Go over to the other video. If you're on David's, come to mine. If you're on mine, go to David's. Hit that like.
Yeah, send Ruffs a super chat so we can buy some new batteries.
Maybe I got them. They just all died today because I used them for the previous video. That's what I get for doing multiple streams.
You need new batteries.
I know. Yeah, guys, appreciate you. We'll see you next time for the Buff Blitz. I'm Russ, David Talks Buffs. And as always, Sco Buffs.
Go Buffs.